it's Jasmine, and this is my inventory system so far. I'm sorry. I realized that inventory systems could get really advanced, so it took me a while to kind of just like stop and just share what I have. So if we go in the game, I have a hotbar here to display what I picked up, but the real inventory system is on the player like a backpack. I have an actor component called inventory, and the actor component has an items array. Okay, so these are some items. You can pick them up using the same interact function, or sorry, yeah, interact system from last time. So we see that I picked up one of each item, and I have one of each item here. So I have a wood, key, iron sword, health potion, and sword. So the first thing I did was I made this structure called f underscore inventory item, which is basically all the attributes an item can have. Some of these details I'm not sure are very important, but I just made them just because. So an item has a name, an icon, an item type of type enum item type, and I'll share what that is in a bit. An item has a description of what it is, a current quantity, and a max stack of type integers. Current quantity, not sure if I really need that, but it's there for now. So I have this enumerator. and I have 4 values in there. So an item can be either a consumable, an equipment, a quest item, or a crafting material. All right, so to put those two to use, I made a data table, which is using the inventory item structure, and I populate it with 4 different items. So I have an iron sword, health potion, key, and wood, and each of these items, there's an equipment item, consumable item, a quest item, and a crafting material. Okay. So the reason why I made this data table was so I can give all of these pickup items information that the inventory could use to keep track of what was picked up. So I replaced the base pickup with an item base, and I added a new variable called inventory item data table, which is just going to be the inventory item data table that I created. So every item that is derived from this base item can be set to one of the items from that data table. I also updated the post pickup function. So before the actor is destroyed from the world, I'm calling a function off of the inventory component called add item, and I'm sending in the name of that item, which is going to be the row name. In this case, it's set to none because it is a base pickup. But for an example, the key item, I have it set to key. Therefore, when it's picked up, the row name that gets sent in is key. And the amount picked up is 1. And then after that function is complete, I'm just destroying it from the world. Okay, so the blueprint inventory is an actor component, and this one is just acting as like a container to hold data. In this case, it's just going to hold it's like an array of names. The reason why I made an actor component is because this could also be used for not only a player, like player's inventory, it could also be like a chest inventory or a bookshelf's inventory. You just add it onto any object and you'll give that object like a container that stores data. So the actor component, the inventory has 4 variables that I added. I have an items array that holds names. I have an inventory data table of type data table row handle, which is going to access the data table inventory items. And then I have an item name and item quantity. These are going to hold some values that I retrieved from that data table. And then I have an add item function. So this function, again from earlier, takes in the name of the object and the quantity that was picked up. This is me in post. I wanted to say the reason why I have quantity as an input is because of the following reason. What if the item in the world, like for example, the health potion, I do have it randomly giving me 1 to 3 of these items. So see, in this case, I picked up 3 health potions. So that's why I did it that way. And I'll explain more in a second. But you can see there's 3 health potions. Hope that makes sense. If not, I can explain more. So the add item function takes in the item name and the item quantity. I am then going to see if the item can be found in the inventory item data table using the row name. And if it's not found in that table, I just printed a string that I can't find this item in the data table. But if you can find it, I'm breaking down that row structure into its individual parts, and I'm saving the name into a variable called item name. The reason why I'm doing this is because if we look closely here, row name and name are different. Iron sword without a space for row name and iron sword with a space for the name. And I want the name of the item with the proper spacing for the UI. After setting the item name, I'm looping the item quantity amount of times and adding that item to the items list, and then keeping track of the item quantity by adding 1. I hope that makes sense, but I'll give an example as to why I'm doing this. So say again, like how I picked up 3 health potions, I'm looping 3 times to add the health potion to the items list 3 times, and every time it goes through the loop, I'm updating item quantity by 1. So now I can keep track that item quantity will be 3. Now I have all the information I need to update the UI, and then also the inventory is populated with all of the items. So I'm getting the inventory widget from the player and calling this function called update inventory widget and passing in the item name and the item quantity, and then resetting the item quantity variable. I'll quickly go over how I use this inventory component. I just put it on the player itself. I added it as a component here, and I didn't do anything else. It just exists like a backpack on the player. And then I also have these widgets here for the inventory. So I have, for the actual inventory hotbar, I have this list view called item list. It's a variable that I can populate with another widget called inventory item widget. And this item widget is like a template for each item in the hotbar. And there are two variables here, two text objects called item name and item quantity. So in the inventory widget, here's that update inventory widget function. It's going to create a new inventory item widget, saving that into a variable called inventory item widget. And then I'm setting that widget's name, item name, to the name of the object that I picked up. And then I'm also setting the item quantity to the quantity of the item that was picked up. And now that the widget is populated with all the information it needs, I'm adding that widget to the item list. So it will be on the screen. And then again, up here in my third person character, after I have made the interactable widget, I'm just creating the inventory widget and adding it to the viewport. So again, this is what my inventory system does right now. To pick up items like before, but these items are now added into an array in the actor component called Blueprint Inventory. Again, this was very simple. I wanted to share what I have now because I know I could probably work on this system for so long without sharing what I learn and getting feedback. So thank you for any feedback that you may have or will have.